Hello, hello. I'm Juliana Hever, the plant-based dietitian, and this is the What Would Juliana Do Q&A. Today, I wanted to share with you 6 of my favorite ingredients that I use in the kitchen very frequently. First of all, I wanted to share vinegar. There are so many different types of vinegars now. It's just so exciting. This is apple cider vinegar, but there's balsamic vinegar, and there's red wine vinegar, and there's white vinegar, and there's all sorts of different types of delicious flavored vinegars. I have a truffle balsamic vinegar that I love to use as well. There's no stopping the possibilities that you can do with vinegar. So I use these as obviously as an acid in different recipes, but it also is great just as a quick last minute salad dressing. So you could pour this over your food or over your salads and have a whole host of different flavor options. The second ingredient I love are aminos. So basically, they're not really aminos. It's basically a source of salt. This happens to be coconut aminos. You could also get, a low sodium tamari or a soy sauce. I always try to find the lowest sodium version because this is the salt hit that I use in different recipes as the source of sodium and salt, which is necessary to balance a recipe and to make everything taste delicious, but you want to go as low sodium as possible. So this is my favorite version. Right now I'm onto the coconut aminos. And you can get, some people don't want to have soy because they have an allergy or an intolerance. So that's why there's stuff like coconut aminos and other types that are soy free. And then if you're wheat free or gluten free, like a lot of people, you want to look for something that says gluten free on the label. But there are so many different types right now that there's an option for everybody, and this is my preferred source of salt in recipes. You may have seen my video on spices and how spices are the spice of life and it's magic in the kitchen. So this is just a combination, but there are so many different types of spices out there, and you'll learn how to get the best mix and blend depending on, what your recipes are and what your palate is and how you enjoy food. So there's a range of options. You can mix and match. You can buy them already made as a blend. There's so many wonderful things, and you can literally transform any staple recipe into a completely different entity. So I would encourage you to look at my video about that because the world is open when you delve into spices. You can make healthy, taste delicious very easily. The next ingredient that I love to use as an ingredient is plant milk. So this is interesting. People think of plant milks or milk as a food, like as a nutritionally important food group, as a staple. You may notice that I do not consider it such. It's not part of my list, the vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices, because it's not really an essential food group. However, from a culinary perspective, it's a wonderful, wonderful ingredient. So I like to use unsweetened always. I don't like to use the ones that have the sugar inside. And I like to use plain. But that said, there's so many types of milks out there now. It's like, I always say there's like a wall of milks. There's soy and almond. This is almond. There's hemp seed. There's oat milk. Oat milk is really delicious. I'm getting really into that lately too. It's getting more popular. There's so many different types of plant milk, and they do offer slightly different offerings from a culinary perspective. So almond is a little neutral and a little light and thin. Soy milk tends to be a little creamier. Hemp milk has a little grainy flavor, but it can work in certain recipes. And of course, you're getting your little omega-3 fatty acids hit from that. So that's wonderful too. Oat milk seems to be a little neutral, a little more rough, if you will. So it just depends on what you're looking for from a texture component and from exactly the recipe you're using. But plant milks are wonderful as an ingredient from a culinary perspective. Again, I don't really think of it as a nutritional necessity. Okay, are you ready for my 2 favorite ingredients? Okay. Nutritional yeast. Oh, anyone that knows me knows I love my nutritional yeast. So this is basically this wonderful little ingredient that adds a whole host of cheesiness and umami and just deliciousness to pretty much every single dish. And basically you can get this with, most of them have B vitamins. It's fortified with B vitamins. I recommend trying to find the ones that are not fortified because you want to avoid having some of those like folic acid. You don't really want to have that on a regular basis because that is synthetic and it has some health adverse risks. So I like to try to find the unfortified. It's harder to find. It's a little more expensive sometimes. So, use it at your caution. But I love to put this in everything. I put this on top of everything. I put it in my sauces. I put it on just to sprinkle on salads, to sprinkle over anything. It makes everything taste better, in my opinion. And I left my absolute number one favorite, I'm sorry, Nutritional Yeast, I put that a second, but my number one top favorite thing, you might be hinted by my shirt, hot sauce. Oh my goodness, the world of hot sauces. Now I know this might be divisive and not everyone feels the same way as I do about hot sauce. Some people hate it. A lot of people I know out there, you guys are my hot sauce people. I hear from you often whenever I talk about it. So I do love sriracha and I do love Tabasco. This is Chipotle Tabasco. That's one of my favorites. It's just got that Chipotle warmth and deliciousness that I absolutely love. But there's so many different types of Tabasco sauces and Cholula. And I mean, I'm literally an open book to trying different hot sauces. I get a little stuck on one here and there. But I love to open up my mind and try my palate and try different hot sauces. But I put them on pretty much everything. And those of you that have eaten with me know very well that I'm a hot sauce queen. So maybe some of you can relate. Maybe some of you are like, ooh, no, I want to taste the flavors of the food. But I think it makes everything taste better. So those are just some of my favorite ingredients that I use in the kitchen, and you'll see in most of my recipes, they are represented well. I hope that helps give you a little bit of inspiration. Thank you again so much for joining me today and for your wonderful comments and questions that you've been sending me via my comment section below, direct message, or just my website, plantbaseddietitian.com. Please keep them coming, and I will see you next time.